Hey y'all, welcome to this week's episode of TPI's Games to Watch. I'm Lizzie, RBS Sports Editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, and it is week 2 of the football season, which means region play has arrived. Games really start to matter now at this point. Not that those first couple games don't matter, but in terms of getting into the playoffs, this is where you really want to win your games. So we have a lot of really exciting games on the docket for this evening. So we'll start it off with a really big game for both of our counties. Stanhope, Elmore is headed to Benjamin Russell tonight, 7 o'clock kickoff. This game means so much to both of these teams. Whoever is the loser of this game will really be facing an uphill battle for the rest of the region play. And Benjamin Russell, the biggest thing that they're going to need to do is understand that Stanhope Elmore's defensive line is insane. I keep using the word scary whenever I talk about them. They're big and they're talented. When you've got guys like William Whitlow and TJ Jackson coming at you, they certainly can do a lot of damage. Caleb Foster as well. So the big thing is Benjamin Russell is going to need to get out in space and get those linemen moving east and west rather than north and south. If they can do that, the linemen might end up getting a little bit winded. If they can, they're not going to be able to just run the ball down the throats of Stanhope Elmore because they don't have the size to combat that with Benjamin Russell's offensive line. As for Stanhope Elmore, they're looking to be a little bit more two-dimensional. They've been really, really run-heavy these first 2 weeks, and that's looking to change. Getting Andrew Rhines a little bit more comfortable at quarterback will be really key for the Mustangs. Benjamin Russell also, while they don't necessarily boast that size, the sheer kind of overpowering aspect that Stanhope Elmore has, they've got a really solid defense as well. You're not going to get a whole lot past them. There were a couple of weak points in the secondary that Stanhope Elmore is going to kind of try to capitalize on, I would think. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, and like I said, this really determines a lot for the region standings moving forward, assuming that Wetumpka and Opelika are as strong as they have been the last 2 years. This is really going to determine a lot for the rest of the season.
I'm Caleb Turrentine with the Wetumpka Herald, and in this week's game to watch, we're going to take a look at Holtville trying to make some history as they host Handley on Friday night in the region opener. Holtville has moved into the top 10 in the Alabama Sports Writers Association poll for the first time since 1993. The Bulldogs sit at number 10 in Class 4A, but in order to move up further this week, they will have to beat a Handley team that they have never beaten before. Handley enters this week with an 0-1 record after losing to Tallahassee, but they still boast plenty of returning starters and talent from last year's team. Devontae Houston, Handley's running back, will lead the way on offense with the help of 3 returning starters on the offensive line, but Handley's biggest threat comes on the defensive side, where 5-star recruit and Auburn commitment Dylan Brooks lines up at defensive end. He's looking to have a bigger week this week after being kind of quiet against Tallahassee last week, but he can also make an impact on the offensive side of the ball when he lines up at tight end or receiver. Holtville is going to counter by continuing to use Braxton Buck and Drake Baker at quarterbacks, as they're expected to continue to split reps this week. But Holtville's rushing game has come along with the likes of Colby Potts and Drew Pickett as they look to be a more balanced offense this year. Holtville is looking to back up some of the offseason hype that they got and prove that they are a threat to win the region this year. So make sure to get out for kickoff at the newly named Boykin Chapman Field this Friday night at 7 o'clock.
Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Carmen Rogers with Tallapoosa Publishers, bringing you this week's games to watch. I'm here at J.E. Hott O'Brien Stadium with the Tallahassee's head coach, Mike Battles. And Coach Battles, last week the Tigers traveled to Roanoke for a hard-fought victory over Handley High School. This week we're going to head south for another battle of the Big Cats as we take on the Tigers from Greenville. Can you tell me how you feel heading into Friday night's game?
Well, it never hurts to come off a victory. Us and Handley have had 4 great games over the 4 years, and they've always come down to one play here, one play there. A kid making a tremendous play one way or the other. That game, I think, having played that game is going to help us this Friday night. Greenville, they made a semifinals run last year. They are, big, fast, strong, all the adjectives and things you want to add to it. And so it's going to be a challenge. Our kids are going to have to play really well. We're going to have to make up for some, size by making sure we do what we're supposed to at that moment, hold our blocks, keep their quarterback contained. He is like a little water bug is the way I put it. It's hard to get him down because he can really run. And, but once again, just like with Handley, for us to be successful, we're going to have to move the chains. And I think we did a great job of that Friday night. I think that first drive was like 8.5 minutes. If we can do those things and not, we don't have to come away with a score every drive, but if we can, 3, 4, 5 first downs here and keep our offense on the field more than the defense, then we're going to have a chance. If our defense is out there all Friday night, it's not going to be a pretty night for the Tigers because they're good. They're well coached, very organized, and I've never been to Greenville, so looking forward to going down there, and hopefully we'll give another performance like Friday night.
Bring home another win.
That's right, another win.
And then following this week's game, we'll have our first home game.
Finally.
That has to be exciting.
Yes, I'm ready to get home. People ask me all the time, it's home field advantage. No, the advantage is we don't have to load up everything and go travel an hour and a half and get home at 12. That's the advantage. Our crowd is going to be with us wherever we go. So there's no, we don't lose any of that. But, it'll be nice to bring the kids in, not have to get out of school early, and bring them in, go through our normal routines, go out, warm up, everything. We're right here by the field. Just all the things that, playing at home are good for. And, we'll have a big crowd. But, yes, it's time to get one here in Hot O'Brien Stadium.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Games to Watch. I hope you'll join us again next week. Until then, I'm Carmen Rogers reporting for Tallapoosa Publishers.
Go Tigers.